Inside Monrovia, a show created and hosted by our community, spotlighting local businesses, organizations, and incredible people that make up our neighborhood. This is Inside Monrovia. Thanks so much for watching Inside Monrovia. If you live here in the city or a neighboring city, or you're just finding out about our town for the first time, welcome. We hope by the end of the show that you feel a little bit more a part of our community. My name's Chris Los. I'm an M-Town alum, class of 93. I'm joined by Emily McCarthy, class of 24.
Yep.
Coming up, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Gloomy day outside, so, it's very rare for me to be, this excited, so.
That's all right, man. You're in high school and you're here.
Yep.
Class of 24. Coming up later on the show, we've got a convo on health and mental wellness with Kaylee, Tani, and myself. Really great conversation you'll get to be a part of. But Emily, so you grew up here in Monrovia, elementary school. Where'd you go?
I went to Monroe.
Monroe. Favorite teacher over there?
I would have to say, I don't know. They're all pretty good. Miss Cardinal was my kindergarten teacher. She always visited my school in middle school, so she always visited, just check up on us. So love the fact that she checked up on us. She's one of my favorite teachers. One, cause she was very nice, and I took Spanish classes in elementary, and I still take them now. But her Spanish was very good. It was just very easy for me to learn with her.
Yeah.
So. Just the fact that I had her as a teacher was a blessing.
I love that you're smiling as you talk about a teacher. That's already that's how you know, okay, cool, they were good. Monroe, I didn't go to school there, but I remember those basketball courts very well. So when we were in high school, they were the low courts. Mm-hmm. So we get over there, have the dunk contest after school until they took the rims down. Mm-hmm. Then they knew we were out there messing up. So after Monroe, Clifton, right?
Yes.
Clifton Middle School.
Clifton was an experience.
Okay.
You can just say it's an experience. I made some friends, lost some friends, gained some friends, typical middle school stuff. But I still have a couple of my friends that I went to middle school with, elementary school, and I, really appreciate them for sticking it out with me. So if they're watching this, hey.
It's a different transition, middle school, it's elementary, right?
It's a very different transition. To get to my classes, it was a struggle. Sixth grade. But I had this very amazing teacher. Her name was Miss Bravo. Loved her. She always let us eat snacks in class. One of my friends would always bring gummy bears, so she would have to. She's like, in order to eat in my class, you have to share. So give me some.
Come on, that's what yeah.
So she was very cool with it. She spoke Spanish with us, but she also spoke English. And when she spoke English, it was just, make fun of us, whatever. So I really had a fun time in the class. I felt like I could just relax and, do what just to a safe place.
That's cool. Shout out to, I went to school with Principal Jackson also. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Miss Jackson, principal over there at Clifton. I wanted to ask you, you wrapped up junior high school during the pandemic.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was kind of interesting, an interesting way to end my middle school year.
Yeah.
Wasn't expecting it at all. So, shout out to COVID, to, kind of mess up.
I mean, as it happened, right? Because you're in class. I remember what it was like for my son at Brad Oaks, but here you are kind of prepping for graduation, right?
Yeah.
At the time.
I think we just started prepping for graduation. We went outside and set up the chairs, but it was very weird to have to drive in my car to get my my certificate and stuff like that. So it's like I don't think it's a drive-through. I'm not getting any food, so I mean,
As it was happening, what were you thinking? As they were telling you the information.
They were telling me things like that. It was just very interesting. Something I wouldn't expect to happen so sudden. I remember during class when we heard the announcement that we might be leaving school a little bit earlier, it was my fifth period, so I wasn't expecting it to be super early. We went to each class, so we had like a, I think, 5-minute period to go to each class, so we'll grab our stuff, whatever. I think I was in Miss Bravo's class, actually, so my Spanish class was my fifth period. So I was there, and then I had to switch to my English class to go hurry up and get my stuff from there. So I think we had 30 minutes with her, and then everything after that, we had 5 minutes to go get everything. We had like a little bell ring or whatever, so.
So getting out, right, from there to the online, how was that transition? Was it easy?
It was okay at the beginning because they were new to it, so
Yeah.
they didn't give us as much as work. But now that it's been a year, which is very, very surprising,
Well,
it's like,
surprising, and like now you've lived through going through school
Yeah.
in this regular manner. We'll call it regular till the 8th grade. Then it changes. Your graduation is a drive-through, and now you start high school.
yeah. It's something I wouldn't expect from my first year of high school. You know, since everybody had that, oh my God, I'm in high school now experience. I'm just had that, I'm in high school and I'm at home. That doesn't make any sense, you know? So it was different. I can get why we had to stay home because of that. I can
Right.
adjust to that. I'm not one of those Karens to say, why do I have to be home? Da, da, da. So I'm adjusting to it slowly
Yeah.
but surely. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm still doing sports for school, so that's a way for me to interact
Dope.
with people. I'm still get to see my friends a little bit. I went to my friend's birthday party, I think the last week. It was a drive-by, and then I got to stay for a little bit.
We had talked
So, yeah.
a little bit about, like, offline, we were talking about how school now being online, right? Like, now you're always online. Now your social life is online. Your school is online. Hanging out with friends is online. What's that been like for you?
Well, it's, since my social life is a little bit online, I do, communicate with my friends like that, so I still have it and so that. I do have their numbers. It's not so different to communicate online since we've been doing it for more than 20 years.
Okay.
So it's not as different as you would probably think it would be, but
I think my thought was like, not to cut you off, but more you had your friends at school that you chop it
Yeah.
up with and hang with, and then you can go online and you can still connect
Yeah.
with them. But now it's like you don't
Yeah.
get the chop it up, hang with them part.
Yeah, that's what kind of messed me up, that I can't really go to school and see my friends, because that was a motivation for me to get up and go to school every day. Even without that, I'd be a little bit motivated to see people at least. But now that it's like COVID restrictions and things like that, it's like I have to stay home, maybe with my camera on and things like that. It just, talk basically to the teacher, because a lot of people don't like talking during class and stuff like that.
Is it something for you that's felt like normal and cool now? Does it feel awkward?
I feel like every day is a weekend because I'm home like every single day. So it's like, after class, I just do whatever. Maybe do a little bit of homework or read a little bit, whatever I need to do. But I feel like that COVID brought me to a lot of my hobbies. Figured out what I wanted to do with my life and things like that. So.
How so? How would you say?
Before COVID, I used to edit a lot on my phone, just, do whatever. Now I usually edit like YouTube videos for my friends or YouTube videos for me. Just not even if I don't post them, I just edit and things like that. I recorded a video for my sister, just edit it and do whatever I need to do, just to help me engage more with something I love doing. So that, and then I'm also working on some entrepreneurial things.
So this time has been like for you an opportunity to like dive into other stuff.
Yeah.
That's amazing, Emily. I'm so impressed, yo. That's resilience demonstrated. Like, I don't know if you even see that. Like, I'm thinking, as I'm asking you this, I'm like, man, what's it like? Because I know how my school experience was. You're living through one of the wildest transitions we'll ever see. ever. Like you graduated at a drive-through. You started high school on a computer. Like you didn't have to figure out where the bathroom was or home room or anything.
Yeah.
And then in doing all of that, you're also able to just do what you love. As an entrepreneur, I love that. You're looking at things online. You're learning how to edit. What would you say to kids who are maybe trying to figure that piece of it out, like how to get started doing something they're passionate about?
I feel like if you feel like you're passionate about it, like how it was with editing, you just start doing it. And if you feel like, oh, it's not for me, then you could, stop at whatever time. But if you want to, push yourself to see if you're actually good at it, because a lot of people figure out, oh, I don't like it, then years later, hey, this is actually my thing, I like it now. So I feel like you should, try to push yourself to do it.
How'd you start finding out about it? Like, was it YouTube? Was it?
I love watching YouTube videos, and it's something that my mom kind of is annoyed about, but I love watching YouTube. I love watching just how different people, edit, and just to make their videos seem very just, interesting, and like eye-catching things, and, so I figured out, hey, why can I do this? So I just, my mom bought me a camera. Then she let me use her computer that she wasn't using anymore. So I just, go with the flow. And now I'm like in love with it. So
I love it. Well, look, I want to talk to you when we come back about a few words that just kind of hit different in 2020. But before we get to the combo with Kaylee and Tani on mental wellness and health and kind of the cross-section of that, I want you to meet an M-Town alum who is an entrepreneur right here in the city that you can reach out to.
Hi guys, my name is Dane Nelson. I own a small detail business in the San Gabriel Valley. I've been doing it for about a year now, and I have a couple tips for you today to keep your car well maintained. The first tip would be to park anywhere near shade, underneath trees, big trees. Don't try to park underneath the trees that have sap falling down, because that could also damage your car. But anywhere near shade, just so it keeps it off the sun and helps it clear coat out so it doesn't fade and last you longer. The second tip would be to park away from any sprinkler heads that you guys have, mainly in the driveway or next to curbs. They could also leave a bunch of hard spot waters, because water has calcium in it, and it leaves it really hard to get off the paint. And lastly would be to get it detailed about once every 6 months. It does help the paint out big time, and also helps the interior so it doesn't get as messy for you in the car as it can be, because I know with families, the car does get pretty dirty. And lastly, you guys can hit me up on Instagram or give me a text. I do come to San Gabriel Valley and surrounding areas as well too. Thank you guys.
Hey y'all, I'm Kaylee. I'm here with Chris and Tani has some tips for us on how mental wellness and health really do intersect. So Tani, let us hear some tips you got.
Awesome, thank you. My name is Tani Walker, and I am your Fairy Health Mother, a holistic health coach here in Monrovia. And there's so much to talk about with health and wellness, but I want to start with our gut health. We've all heard about it. Hopefully, you know a little bit about it, but it is definitely kind of a new focus when it comes to health and wellness. So we all have what's called our microbiome. It's basically an ecosystem of viruses and bacteria and fungus and sometimes parasites. They usually live in harmony, but a lot of us have that in disharmony. So it can cause a lot of ailments, including depression, our mood swings. It can also affect all of our health and wellness in all areas. So it's a big topic, and it's a little bit unknown because it's kind of new. They're just learning about it themselves, I mean doctors and the Western medicines. But some fun facts about our gut is that 90% of our serotonin, which is our feel-good hormone, is produced in our gut, which is awesome. That means that we can actually help our moods with our foods, right? Also, our immune system, 70% of our immune system is made in the gut. And that's really important right now to have a strong immune system, as we all know. A healthy gut also helps you actually absorb your nutrients that you're eating. It helps assimilate and tell those nutrients where to go and what it can be used for. It also can detox environmental toxins and heavy metals. So that's important too, because we are living, outside world, internal world. They have to coexist between our food that we're consuming and air that we're breathing. It's kind of the highway from outside to inside. So they really have to be in harmony, if that makes any sense. There's both good and bad bacteria, and we need both. Unfortunately, we've had a year of sanitizing the heck out of our hands, and sometimes that actually can be a little bit detrimental because we're killing some good bacteria too. So soap and water as much as you can, because we need to be able to fight some things on the outside as well. Another great way to make sure that your gut is nice and strong, which most of us have heard of, is probiotics. Probiotics is very common of a term right now. There's a lot of, supplements out there on the shelves. Now, our microbiome has billions and billions and billions of bacteria. It's really hard to know what you're deficient in. We're all different. We all have a different ecosystem in our guts. So that's why one man's food could be another man's poison, that term that you've heard. But there's a way that everyone could get their probiotics, and it is bioavailable to the body. We soak it in, we use it, and that's adding fermented foods into a meal. It's interesting how other cultures do that when it comes to, they just know to help digestion, just have that little bit of fermented foods with every meal. For instance, the pickled ginger with sushi, kimchi with Asian food, things like that. So adding those to your diet, sauerkraut, I know a lot of people turn their nose up at it because it can be quite strong, but just try just a little bit mixed in a salad. It actually brings a lot of flavor. You know what else is great, and it's a little more palatable for us Americans, is pickles. But real pickles. So the ones on the shelf and sitting in a jar, those have just been marinated with white vinegar. But if you can find ones, I know Trader Joe's has some, that are bubbly and fermented and they have to stay cold in the refrigerator, those are probiotics. So now if you have that pickle with your sandwich, you're gonna digest that sandwich better. So I just think that's an easy way for everyone to include that, at least to help start balancing out the gut.
Yeah. And you can get the carrots too at Mexican restaurants. Would you recommend that too?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Because I know I like those, and I can definitely eat that over some sauerkraut sometimes.
Sure. Yep. They even have fermented beets, which don't taste like regular beets, but they're not as strong as sauerkraut. So you got to play with it, but why not use food as your medicine?
Right.
It's so available, and we fortunately live in an area of the world, of the country, where we have everything at our fingertips between Sprouts and Trader Joe's, and Vaughn's Pavilions has the most beautiful produce I think I've seen.
But we've also got like any drive-through available 24/7 right now. Like everyone is doing that. So how do you find a balance of that, or for the person who is driving through a lot, right? Yeah. How do you kind of find a balance to your intake? Because I know for me, like personally, through this moment of seeing how my body reacts to food, I could feel it totally. Like I grab something quick, I feel cool for a second, and I love the happy thing, or the happiness comes, but then it goes really fast, and you're tired, and I don't know, what would be like an easy way to just kind of find balance with that?
I mean, first and foremost, I think the easiest way to adjust diets is to not think of what you can't eat. It's adding in what I should be eating. So if you add in more good stuff, you'll naturally crowd out the bad stuff, right? So maybe if you know you're gonna drive through that evening for dinner, what can I have today that's healthier? Maybe I can make a better choice for lunch.
Right.
So then and it's almost just a ratio. It's crowding out more good, or crowding out the bad with more good. And eventually, the 80-20 rule. 80% as best and nutritious and real as possible. 20%, who cares?
That's your 20%.
I need my Mexican food. I want my chips and salsa. I want to have, But if I know that I'm going to Mexican food tonight, I'm going to have a healthy smoothie. I'm going to have a lot of water. I'm going to have a salad, and then there's no guilt.
I like the 80-20 rule. I'm a fan.
80-20. And you might not be able to get to 80% yet. Start at 51% of your plate is healthy.
Got it.
So
ultimately, you're just shrinking your plate's garbage.
Exactly.
And
By
putting
adding in the good.
Good stuff.
Yeah. And eventually, you guys should see my salads. They're about this big. I eat so much, but a salad this big is the same amount of calories as a burger this big, right? And I like to eat. So if I could eat more, if it's healthy, I'm going to eat more.
Well, when I hear probiotics, I'm always thinking about yogurt.
That is a way to get them, but so many yogurts now are just
Too much sugar,
sugar-filled.
right?
But they also pasteurize that stuff out, or they add in, so it's now been supplemented, right? So now you're getting the supplemental version of those bacteria as opposed to real fermented yogurt.
Okay, got you.
It's like B12 fortified. We're talking about bees. B vitamins, that's our energy, you guys. And it's hard because we don't make it naturally. Our bodies do not produce any B vitamins naturally. You have to eat it or get it from somewhere else. So again, there's their healthy food. When it comes to a variety of fruits and vegetables, you got all this covered. You got all of it covered. So yeah.
What's a great way on the B12, like naturally, to what are one of those?
I'm a nutritional yeast person. I'm a food person again. I want to eat it, and I found it's a terrible name. I really wish they could come up with a different name for nutritional yeast, but it's basically just flakes of yeast that add a lot of flavor. I put it in pastas. I put it on my salads. I make vegan cheeses with it. And it tastes a little bit like Parmesan cheese. So you can sprinkle it over things, and there's nothing but B vitamins in it. It's so beneficial. So beneficial.
Tani, we went to high school together.
Yes, we did.
I didn't learn none of this, man, in high school.
Nobody taught us this. I had to go search it out.
I was just going to say, did you take different classes than me or something?
No,
okay.
no. I searched out schools, and I found a lot of this information on my own in my adulthood because of my own depression I was suffering from in my 20s, my own weight issues. Anyone that knew me in high school, I was not a little one. I was a little chunky, and I had the yo-yo, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was telling the girls earlier, then it turned into, a bag of light popcorn and a Diet Coke. That's all I would eat. So I was just obsessed with losing weight. And then that didn't work. So, what about diet pills? What about coffee, living on coffee? I even smoked cigarettes because I thought that would make me lose weight. When you exhaust all of that in your 20s, that's what happened to me. And it was my late 20s that I was like, okay, what am I supposed to, what are we supposed to be doing here? And the answer is really simple. The answer is really simple. It's everything else that's complicated. But real, whole food. Real, whole food, and a variety of it. Because every color of vegetable does something different for us. We need lots of healthy fats. The fat-free 90s didn't do us any favors. Especially women, we need fats to make hormones. So if you have a low-fat diet, don't expect your hormones to be regulatory or regulated at all. So it's just lots of nuts, lots of avocados, healthy oils.
Okay. I could do that.
Yeah, and be careful of the more, processed oils, which is used in fast food, that's when you start getting inflammatory things as opposed to beneficial things.
Thank you so much
Of course.
for bringing the basic answers. That's what you're providing to us. And I think it's things that we never learned or we didn't know. So, audience, if you want more information to learn more about this, how can they get in touch with you, Tani?
So the best way would probably be social media at this point. I am at Your Fairy Health Mother on Instagram and Facebook. I am under Gitana Walker. Hopefully I see you there.
Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Tani. Wow. What a wealth of healthful info. Sorry, it's bad dad joke thing. Lots of information right there. But staying right there with like mental health, physical health, speed of life, the amount of information that we're getting, it's been a lot that's happened. You've experienced it. You
Yeah.
left junior high school, gone into high school, but I think the amount of other things that have happened in between have been just like a lot to digest. We had talked about these 3 words that impacted you differently in 2020. If you could tell me where you were at and what your thoughts were as you heard the words Black Lives Matter.
Well, they've always mattered, and it's just now that it's become a trend to certain people. Then now they.
When was it for you? Like, where was that like? Was there a moment, or was it just like you kind of heard it?
I've heard it. Then I heard about the George Floyd situation. Then I heard about Breonna Taylor. Then I heard about all these ones in the past that we've just let go. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's like we shouldn't have done that. We need to spread awareness for it, and it needs to be Black Lives Matter because they do matter. Along with other lives, we have Hispanic Lives Matter, we have Asian Lives Matter, Muslim lives, Nigerian Lives Matter, all of those stuff, and the fact that we have to basically scream for people to notice it is very outrageous. So.
What was it like for you being a young Black lady? How do you feel, and like what's it like for you?
Well, part of it is, being Black. It's now that I have friends of different races. Like, some of them, they're not my friends anymore, but some of them I said, oh, can I say the N-word? You're Black, so I just wanted to know if I could say it. It's like, no, it's not really something I say for myself, so I wouldn't want other people saying it as well.
You said that there's some friends that you had and some that you don't have anymore.
Yeah.
Was there reasons for this that
Reasons for this and reasons for other reasons, just to let people, that have not impacted me in my life let go. I've learned that God brings people in my life to teach me a lesson. So that lesson was to, find the friends who have stuck with you since, day one. So part of the reason is that, and the other reason is just being racist as well. So I've had a couple friends who've, called me the N-word and like that, have basically told me to go back to my country, and I'm just like, well, I live here, so where do you want me to go?
really?
And part of it is the reason that because of hundreds of years ago, I've learned that we don't know where we come from because of slavery, things like that. So it's like I don't know where I come from because of people like that.
Wow. For your whole, like, as you look at your school and your other peers that are affected, like, have you seen has this caused a weird thing at school? Has it brought kids closer together to like kind of unite, or what's the vibe been like on campus?
It's
or online, I should say.
Being at a predominantly white neighborhood and things like that, I've learned to adjust to that. People, my family in LA called me whitewashed, whatever. They could call me whatever. I know it's not offensive, they just want to be funny, so I don't really take that as a joke. But when people of not of color call me whitewashed, it's like you're calling me you, and I'm not you. I was like, it's not okay. I'm who I am, and I'm not going to change for anybody else. So.
What's it different, like the cultural difference, right? So you got family in LA, family here in Monrovia. See, I understand that also, and I don't know if people here in Monrovia understand like what it's like to be colored in Monrovia as opposed to colored in Los Angeles.
Yeah, colored in Monrovia is just being, over here. I heard there's a Trump rally. I was like, I'm not a part of that, so I'm just gonna stay home. I stayed home that day. They were, abusing people, I heard. So I, stayed away from that. But being Black in LA is basically being with your people. I feel like so. When I go to LA with my mom, because I go visit her family. Some of my family from my dad's side live in LA as well, but when I go visit them, it's like I'm home, basically. So I get to see my cousins. I usually stay the week with them and stuff like that. So just being in LA brings it differently
Yeah.
there than here, but it also taught me to be safe in LA as well. So knowing a lot of things about LA more than here, I don't have to be as cautious, but I still need to be cautious of things because I am a girl, so things at night, whatever. So yeah.
And that's something interesting too. You said like I definitely noticed it was growing up going to high school here with your pops. The what 93 we graduated, so it was a cool mix. I felt like more of people. Like there was more black folks. We had Latinos. We had Mexicans. We had Filipinos, Indonesian. We had it was like a cool melting pot, right, of everything. White folk. Everybody was there. And there was this cool camaraderie, I felt like, because of it. There was a few where you could tell they might have grown up in a different home that didn't take kindly to colored folk. They were there. It just didn't feel like it. Like we felt still safe to be.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that here, or is it different now?
I feel like before the Black Lives Matter stuff, I felt a little bit, like how you said it. I did have, or I still do, I have a bunch of like mixed colored and whatever you want to call them friends. So I have a couple Hispanic friends, I have a couple white friends, a couple friends that are black, so a little relatable. And then I have a couple Asian friends. I have an Indian friend, and it's nice to learn about them. A lot about different things like that. So instead of going into history books, reading about it.
No, for sure. It's it's that part, right? The learning about them, like you said. Because I remember my buddy Andy. Shout out to Andy Jones. I haven't seen him in years, man. Andy, if you see this, man, hit me up, man. I'm online. But if it wasn't for him, I'd have been like, hey, bro, you warm the tortillas up on the stove like that? You just put it on the fire and then flip it with your hand like.
My one of my friends, her name is Corey. I went to a birthday party a couple weeks ago. Hey, Corey. But her grandma made these tacos, and it was a little bit different than how I would make tacos. They were so delicious and things like that. So she was like me calling her grandma. I have to call her abuelita. So it's nice to have like a second grandma from her. So
and I think there's so much learned from each other. That was the one thing I loved about this city, because I'm like, man, I'm learning about different cultures I'd have never known anything about, like getting real Chinese food. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
From like Indonesian food. I'm like, what is this, Ron? Like, bro, what?
Yeah.
And like it's just even in the Asian culture, man. Like, and to all of our Asian family here in the community, like I just want you to know, everyone here on the show, we're standing with you. Like we're in this thing together. And it was just the beauty of Monrovia in that aspect. Like that's what I loved about it. I'm like, yo, we got every color. I'm learning about different stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel it that way. Here in 2021, it does feel different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember this one time where my friend, she's Asian. I'm not sure what type of Asian, so I don't want to be disrespectful.
so you got to find out.
Yeah.
That's where you
I
got to find out. You got to ask.
I feel like that's kind of disrespectful, So I don't really ask. I can kind of assume in my head, but
Look, I'm gonna tell you this, Emily. As you continue to get to know people and make more friends, man, that's the part of it. Like, don't feel like you're offending them, like because I think that's the question where you care. You know what I'm saying? And they go like, oh man, they want to know. Like, ask them like, yo, are you sorry to be disrespectful? Are you Chinese? Are you Vietnamese? Are you Korean? Where are you from? Where's your family from? Like, cause that's how we get to learn.
Yeah. But I remember, I think it was elementary school. She brought me, she didn't bring any, but she brought rice balls to I think it was a party we had. They were so delicious. After that, I fell in love with rice, period. So now I eat rice with everything, and my mom can't stand it.
Come on, I had rice with everything growing up. That was just our house, though.
Yeah, I forgot. She put soy sauce and like some vegetables on top of it. It was so good.
So like, see,
Yeah.
so
Sesame
your pop
seeds.
knows, and like a lot of my friends that I went to high school with know. You come to the house, my grandma's gonna have some rice and probably some type of curry of something. Chicken curry, lentil curry, something will be there. But look, you're making me hungry right now. Let's stop the food talk. If you could see something different here as we kind of look at 2021 and move into 2022 in a mind frame of what you'd like to see happening with everything going on with Black Lives Matter and the Asian hate that we're seeing, what would you like to see?
I just want to see like some form of alliance, just something that can, bring us together, something we can all find in common, just to bring us together. Right now, it's a lot of negative stuff. So I want to find, we can all find some positive stuff that we all have in common. So just to form something that we can all stick together, things like that, that would be, something we could possibly see.
I think we should do it around food.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody can eat. I feel like everybody would love that. But if we could form something about that and just stick something to that, then I feel like that would be good.
For sure. Nah, Emily, thank you. I appreciate you coming in. Thank you for sharing so honestly. Like I think that's the thing where we can all learn from each other if we're really honest in that scarier type of way. But thank you for coming in. Thank you for checking out the show. You can connect with us on Instagram at inside.monrovia. Find us there. Connect with us online. Thank you also to our folk here at KGEM. We really appreciate the support and you allowing us to have this show here on your platform. And we will catch you next time here on Inside Monrovia.